Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another session of Ancient World History. We're going to continue our study of the Kingdom of Aksum. And as you'll know, that Aksum is located in what we call the Horn of Africa. And the Horn of Africa, we've read this section, so let me flip to the map again and remind us what that Horn of Africa is. And we can see that this, where my finger is the Horn of Africa. And it looks like a rhinoceros's horn. Okay, a lot of people say this lower section is the Horn of Africa, where Cape Horn is. No, not true. The Horn of Africa is actually right in here, where it kind of works between the Middle East and Northeast Africa. So there's the Horn of Africa. Okay, we're studying now. In past lessons, we studied Egypt, and then we studied how Nubia and the Kush empires took that section of Egypt over when Egypt weakened during one of their down phases, and we can see the trade routes. And today's reading focuses in this area of Aksum, okay, on the Red Sea. And again, these red trade routes are quite important. Okay. Before we get back into the chapter reading, I want to look at a primary source. Now, I want to remind you what a primary source is. So now and then in our history book, we're going to have these primary source lessons. And a primary source is something that was written or a picture that was taken at the real time, at the real event by someone who really participated in it. So, like right now, if any of you are keeping a COVID-19 journal, then that COVID-19 journal is a primary source document because you are experiencing it and you are writing about it. All the newspaper articles that are being published about this, for the most part, are primary sources. A secondary source is different from a primary source because a secondary source is if you ask somebody who experienced something about it, but the person who eventually writes about it wasn't there. Okay. So, primary source, background. Let's look at the background. It says African rulers in Egypt and Kush and Aksum had accounts of their military campaigns carved onto stone pillars and thrones. They followed a standard format. First, they described the reasons for going to war. Then, they described the war itself. Next, they noted the campaigns or the war's end results. Finally, they gave thanks to the gods or God for the victory. The passage quoted on the right was carved into a throne for King Azana to celebrate his victory. Okay, so our title is from Aksum, an African civilization of late antiquity. Now, before I read it, what are you going to do? And you're going to do this right here. You're going to, on a Google document that I will probably ask you to answer the question about, you're going to answer two questions for me. The first one is, whom is King Azana thanking? So as you read this, you're going to think about who is he thanking for his victory or for his work in the war. And then the second question is, what are his goals for ruling? How is he going to rule? What does he want to do for his people, to his people, on behalf of his people? What does he want to do to other people? Whatever that is. And by the way, you're going to find that towards the end. So here we go. From Aksum, an African civilization of late antiquity, by Stuart Monroe Hay. And I set up a throne here in Shadow in Aksum by the might of the Lord of Heaven, who has helped me and given me supremacy. May the Lord of Heaven reinforce my reign, and as he has now defeated my enemies for me, may he continue to do so wherever I go. As he has now conquered for me and has submitted my enemies to me, I wish to reign in justice and equity without doing any injustice to my peoples. I'm going to leave this up for a couple of minutes so you can look at it and see. You may want to, since you're watching it in video form, pause it right now. And that way you can see what you've read, the two questions you need to answer for me. Whom is King Azana thanking? And there's a note here because they usually did this. And then, of course, what are his goals in ruling? Okay, go ahead and pause the video. And then when you're done with this, I'd like you to play the video again so we can go back into the reading. Last time we met, we ended up there. See, I left my note. So our subtitle is King Azana Expands Aksum. Our essential question is, what was the effect of King Azana on religion? At the beginning, Aksum was small. Then in the AD 300s, a bold king added territory and built a powerful nation, a trading nation. Azana was a strong king who rose to power in Aksum in AD 325. First, he took control of a trading colony on the coast of the Arabian Peninsula. Then, in 350, he conquered Kush and burned Meroe to the ground. Around this time, the empire of Aksum expanded inland and along the coast of the Red Sea. As a result, the kingdom controlled a large trading network. Ooh, lots of money in a large trading network. Azana had become a king as an infant. While he was being educated, Azana's mother ruled on his behalf. One of Azana's teachers taught him about Christianity. When Azana began to rule, he converted to Christianity. He also made Christianity the official religion of Aksum. The Christian church in Aksum were linked in Alexandria in Egypt rather than Rome. Aksum's achievements. What were they famous for? Essential question, what were some of Aksum's achievements? A unique culture rose, you try that again. A unique culture rose in Aksum. As soon as the people of Kush blended Nubian and Egyptian influences, or just as. So Aksum saw a coming together of cultural influences from the Horn of Africa and southern Arabia. Architecture. Now remember, we're talking about Aksum's achievements, and so we're going to think about what achievements they made in agriculture. What agricultural things are they known for? Will they be remembered by? What did they build? So here we go. Architecture. Among the most impressive of these achievements were the pillars of Aksum, which builders placed around the country. Some were 60 to more than 100 feet tall. Writing, carved on the pillars, celebrated great victories or achievements. Builders in Egypt and Kush had used pillars in a similar fashion. Builders constructed Aksum's tall pillars without mortar. Now, mortar is the kind of like cementy white stuff that you see between bricks. It kind of glues them together and structurally gives them. They didn't use any of that stuff. They didn't use mortar to glue things together. They were carved from single stone slabs. Features included false doors and windows. Builders and architects also built large temples. Later, richly decorated Christian churches replaced the temples. And so this obviously was under Azana, because Azana would have gone instead of temples to many gods, since he became a Christian, meaning he believed now in only one God, he was going to build churches, not temples. A written language. Aksum had a written language called Ge'ez. Arabian migrants brought the language to Aksum. Ge'ez became the basis for 3 languages that are used in Ethiopia and Eritrea today: Amharic, Tigrinya, and Tigray. Ge'ez is still used in the Ethiopian church. So in other words, this fairly ancient language, Ge'ez, even though a lot of it has been replaced, the Ethiopian, not Egyptian, correct myself, Ethiopian churches still use it. Okay. Terraced farming. The landscape of Aksum was rugged and hilly. To adapt the land for farming, farmers built terraces. A terrace is a leveled off area. And leveled off, they mean flattened. So you make part of a mountain flat. Level off area of land. Being flat, terraces hold moisture better than hilly land does. Terraced farming increases the amount of land that could be cultivated. Aksum's farmers also built canals, dams, and holding ponds to bring mountain water to the fields. Okay, before I stop this reading, you may like to look at the lesson summary. They have 3 bullet points for us. Aksum became a powerful trading center. And remember, trade is important to growth. King Azana expanded Aksum's empire. And Aksum's unique culture had long-lasting effects. And remember, those long-lasting effects were, 1, those architectural pillars, okay, that architecture, and also those temples and churches. In the area of language, the Ge'ez language that is still used in Ethiopian churches today. And then this idea of terraced farming. So if you're going to live in a mountainous area, if you can cut part of the mountains flat, 1, they'll hold water better, and 2, you'll be able to walk on it and farm more easily. People aren't going to fall off and roll down the mountain to their death or something crazy like that. Okay? Why does all this matter? Well, many Ethiopians to this very day are Christians, and that was the religion that King Azana brought in. And so he started that. Okay, this is going to be the end of today's reading.